What's up, guys? That really gross guy here. We are back, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the new-ish Plague Star event. Now, this event has actually run on for, I believe this is the third time it has come out. And most of you guys probably have already run this and are familiar with it, but for those of you who are not, or for those of you who just want a refresher, I wanted to go over the Plague Star event fairly quick, as well as the rewards. Now, the rewards are probably the most important part of this because they're actually fairly decent. That includes Wisps, the Formas, and absolutely the Plague, the infested Wazaw type weapons. So, personally, the must-haves are absolutely going to be the Plague Kiwar, which is a tip, which is like the spear tip of the infested Zaw, which I think is necessary to get. And I would get all the other Zaw pieces just because they're exclusive to this event, and you won't get your hands on them until the next time they come out. So personally, I would grab all of those. Other important things that you should grab, if possible, are the Snipetron, if that is available. It was in the last round, I believe. Snipetron, and I believe the dual ether blades, or dual ether daggers. Both of which aren't really that good, but if you're running this thing enough and you have the extra standing, you could pick those up. I definitely grabbed the Snipetron, maybe not so much the dual ether whatevers. But the other important things that I think you should absolutely grab, especially if you don't have too many of them, are Formas, because who doesn't have enough Formas? You know, like, you could always get some more Formas. They're used in dojos, they're used in different parts, they're used to make your frame stronger. Absolutely, just go grab as many as you can, at least until you get burnout on this event, because this event is fairly repetitive. The other important thing that I think you should get are Wisps, because Wisps are used in a lot of the operator pieces and all that stuff, and it's kind of meant just to further yourself in terms of the operator and focus type stuff. So grab a lot of Wisps. That way you don't have to go around it in the Plains of Eidolon, run around trying to find these Wisps, because that's, while I think it's, you know, not the hardest thing to farm, it also is just really time consuming, and who has time for that? Ain't nobody got time for that. So the other things that could probably be useful are the fish pieces, which easily could be farmed. Well, I say easily, but you know, you have to kind of earn your way up there to the point where you can actually catch these fish. But if you really don't want to bother with that, you just don't have the time, you could also run this event to grab all of those, because those are also used in some of the operator parts, and I'm not too sure what else they're used in, but you could at least grab what you need right now in terms of those pieces. Maybe go over to the focus area in the Plains of Idle, or the Cetus, and look at the operator, you know, amps, and look at the ones you need and the amp you want to create, and then at least grab what you need at this event right now for that future amp. Put it that way. But for those of you who need to know how to do the event or want a little bit of a refresher, we can get into that now. So your goal basically is to find this toxin type deal, defend this toxin type deal while creating a toxic mixture of some sort, and then move this toxin mixture over to the boil, and then fight the Hemocyte boss. That was the short version of it. But basically, move over to Vahek's secret lair, whatever, and grab yourself this toxin type mixture deal, and just get in, get out as quick as possible. Don't need to spend too much time in there, especially if you want to run this event a number of different times. Now you need to take this over to a mixtures, this place that mixes this toxin up, and this is where this changes the fight. The bounty itself. You can just take this toxin mixture over to this terminal and just defend it for about like 2 minutes or so, and you can run the rest of the bounty. You will receive about 1,000 syndicate points for this event, and specifically for this event, in order to get all those rewards we were looking at. That's kind of the early player way of doing things, is to just defend this thing. Now, if you're trying to get as many reward points as possible, you need to basically put in the Plague Eidolon Catalyst in the Eidolon Phylaxis, I believe is what it's called, but basically you'll see me doing it here. You'll drop these into the machine, and then you will, once again, you'll just keep on defending this machine, and then you'll take this mixture over to a drone, you'll pop it in this drone, and then you'll have to fly this drone, well, this drone will have to hover its way over while you defend it, over to the infested boil, and then it will basically start the last portion of this bounty. Now, the Hemocyte boss is what's going to come out of this boil, and that is basically the fight, the end game fight for this bounty itself. If you insert cost assist, or not cost assist, the Catalyst and the Phylaxis or whatever, you're going to, number one, increase your reward, but you're also going to increase the number of these Hemocyte bosses you're going to fight. If you don't put any in, you're just going to fight the one, and if you can put up to 4 cost assists in, and then you will end up fighting 4 of these Hemocytes. Now, if you're doing this solo, like I like to just do something solo just for fun, just kind of challenge myself. I wouldn't go more than 2. You're just going to spend a lot of time fighting this thing. You could do it, but you're just going to spend a lot of time fighting this thing. And there's really not a reason to do it solo other than the fact that you are just trying to challenge yourself. This is going to be way easier if you jump in with a party. So I highly suggest jumping in with a party because most of them are running this for standing. Most of them are pretty good at what they're doing, and they're going to help you kill the boss, and they're going to put their Catalyst in the machine and their Phylaxis in the machine, and that way you don't have to spend more than your single items on that. So those are in your gear wheel. That's all, that's all stuff that's just going to go through. But I highly suggest fighting this thing in a party. Team synergy is a pretty good, just obviously it's always a good way to do things. But personally, I run Oberon just because it's a very easy way for me to CC all the enemies around me and get them killed, so I don't have to focus on all of the infested running around. I also tend to run Renewal most of the time to either keep my health up if I'm soloing it, or keep all of my allies' health up if they're playing as well, because the toxic going around with all of these enemies and stuff can, hurt certain frames out there. I'm saying that because I tend to run this with Volts, because Volts put their shield up and they do that extra damage when they're shooting the boss. So Volts out there, sometimes Volt takes a little bit too much damage, especially health-wise, from all the toxin and stuff, and Volt tends to go down. So if I have my Renewal going, it keeps him alive. If for some reason he goes down and I'm running the Augment for Phoenix Renewal, then it auto-revives him, which is great. But usually I don't need to do that. Also, I see Trinities out there from time to time. I see Rhinos out there just trying to not to get themselves killed from time to time. Those are usually the newer players. But there's a Nyx out there from time to time who can either Chaos, which I don't mind all that much, but I would prefer if they don't, because that allows me to do some of my my Hallowed Ground much better. But if they run an Assimilate build where they're going around and they're shooting the enemy with their Augment, they have their Augment on, they're running their 4, they're shooting at the boss, and they're just taking whatever damage to their ultimate and, keeping themselves alive, that's totally fine. That's actually a good way to run this. It's soloable if you do that, but I don't suggest it. Anyways, let me know, first of all, if you've done this event before, what frame you like to run, and is there any synergy you would recommend for this event specifically? Like I said, I think Nyx, Oberon, good ways to do things, but is there something I'm not thinking of? I am curious. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and good luck out there, guys, and maybe I'll see you sometime in game, because I'll be farming right along with you guys. So until next time, blah!